I remember when I was first learning how to play the guitar, studying chords, the pentatonic scale, major scale shapes, thinking, is guitar really this complicated? Because if it is, there's no way I'll be able to remember all this, let alone play it. But today, after investing 15 years of my life into guitar, I'm going to be showing you how I approach the guitar and how simple it actually can be. Hey, I'm Jordan Still, a guitarist, songwriter, and guitar teacher, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my simple approach of how to master the entire fretboard. No matter where you're starting from today, I'm 100% confident that this approach will give you the ability to understand and play confidently across the entire fretboard. Let's dive in. All right, the first and important thing that we're going to talk about today, and I fought this for many years, is that guitar is a very shape-oriented instrument. We learn shapes and we memorize and muscle memorize those shapes, and later on we just pull out those shapes. We don't actually have to think too crazy into theory all the time. We're just muscle memorizing shapes. For example, we have our minor chord shapes. We have major chord shapes, pentatonic scale shapes, major scale shapes. With guitar, we learn and muscle memorize shapes, and then a lot of us typically just use enough theory so that we can play these shapes in the correct location on the fretboard. Now, I personally love theory and recommend you dive into a lot of theory as well, but honestly, I found my enjoyment of thinking theoretically to often actually make guitar more complicated than it needs to be. Our focus today will be taking these 5 pentatonic boxes and using them as our foundation of how we see the fretboard, and then building upon the pentatonic shapes into the major scale shapes, into chord shapes. Let me quickly run you through the 5 pentatonic shapes for today. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. I have a whole nother video going very in depth on the 5 pentatonic boxes. I'll link that down below, but I'll walk through them slowly for you, and then we'll build on to how we use these. Today, we're gonna be only in the key of C major, A minor. We're not really gonna break out of that, so everything's gonna be locked in that one key for right now. All right, here's gonna be box 1. Box 2. Box 3. Box 4. Box 5. Okay, so that is how I block out the guitar 100% of the time. No matter if I'm playing rhythm or lead, I'm seeing those zones across the fretboard. But the next very important thing that we need to be able to see across the fretboard is octaves. Now, I call this octave visualization. It's a very simple process, and what you can do with it is absolutely insane. It really goes a long way when it comes to simplifying the guitar for us. It looks something like this. Those were all A notes, and what happens is we see this formula. It's a 2-2, 2-3, 3-2, and we duplicate that. We're gonna start on the 5th fret low E, which is our A note, and the first shape is down 2 strings over 2 frets, so I'll call that a 2-2. And that's how I find the next octave up of the A note. Now, if I put my first finger there, that's the 7th fret D string. Now I'll get a 2-3, which means down 2 strings to the B string and up 3 frets, which in this case will be the 10th fret. So I see a 2-2 shape, a 2-3 shape. The last one's a little bit weird. It's a 3-2. It's up 3 strings and over 2 frets. So my first finger is now on the B string 10th fret, and then I'm gonna play the A string on the 12th fret. So that's the first repetition of the formula of 2-2, 2-3, 3-2. From there, I put my first finger where that ring finger is on the 12th fret A string, and I duplicate that formula. 2-2, 2-3, 3-2. That ends up being 12th fret A string, and then G string 14th fret, that's down 2 over 2. I put my first finger right there, and now I'll go down 2 strings over 3 frets. Ends up being the 17th fret of the high E. Then I put my first finger on the high E, 17th fret. I go up 3 strings over 2, which will be the D string 19th fret. This will work with any note on the fretboard, no matter what you're doing. This formula works to find the octave points, which is very, very important to organize and see. When I'm playing this note, I can octave it out. Any note you're playing, you need to be able to see those octaves stem from it up and down the entire fretboard. Now, what's crazy about these octave visualization points is that they coincide perfectly with the 5 pentatonic zones across the fretboard. Let me show you what I mean. This first 2-2 shape happens in box 1. The classic go-to pentatonic zone. The next, the 2-3 shape, always happens in box 2. Assuming we're in the key of C major or A minor. Zone 1, box 1 right there. Zone 2, box 2. This one, the 3-2, up 3 strings over 2, that happens in box 3. Right now we duplicate the pattern. Back to a 2-2 on the A string here. That's always going to be in box 4. That connects to the 3-2. And that's always going to be in box 5. All right, the next thing, and this is very, very important as well. Everything so far has been shape-oriented. The 5 pentatonic shapes, the octave visualization shapes, right? No theory really being involved at all with those. But I did kind of momentarily bring it up there. We need to be able to see what's called relative scales. So I said we're in the key of C major or A minor today, right? Which is what we call relative scales. Now, basically on guitar, relative scales means you grab a note. We say that's C major in this case. We go 3 frets back, 1, 2, 3, end up on the 5th fret in this case, and that's gonna be A minor. So if I find a G note on the low E, I just randomly say that's G major. I go 3 frets back, 1, 2, 3. That's E minor. We need to really, really learn and understand and memorize these relative scales. That D major is B minor, F major is D minor, all these different things like that. It's going to really, really help out and help us know where to use these shapes across the fretboard, right? Because we need to memorize these shapes and see the fretboard in these zones. But we also, when it comes to a musical context, we need to know where to place these zones. If we don't know that, we're not going to be able to play the right notes. Now, if we are able to do that, we can guarantee that we're playing the right notes and simplify the fretboard into these 5 zones. And no matter if we're in C major or A minor, I found that just numbering these boxes 1 through 5 in the way that we walked through earlier is the best way. There's not a way to do it for major. There's not a separate way for minor. That's confusing. We don't want to make guitar confusing. The easy way is just, this is always box 1. If it's C major, that's like always our go-to as guitar players, right? If it's A minor, that's our go-to. It doesn't matter. There's not a separate box numbering or whatever. This is the box. If it's major, if it's minor, it doesn't matter as long as we understand relative scales pretty well. Uh-oh. Now we need to dive into some theory. We have to do this. This is the most important theory. We're not going to go too crazy. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible, but we have to touch on the major scale. It's the basic building block of everything we know about music, and so we need to be able to see it on the guitar. But I'm going to walk you guys through a very simple way to understand the major scale and then how to play it on the guitar. Everything today so far has just been the pentatonic scale. We've walked through the pentatonic scale and an octave visualization based off the 5 zones of the pentatonic boxes. But what is the major scale and how does it apply in this scenario? One of the most important things to understand right off the bat is that the pentatonic scale is the major scale. It just lacks 2 notes. All 5 notes that we play from the pentatonic scale are 5 notes that are also in the major scale. So this whole time and every time you hear the pentatonic scale, really what we're saying is we're playing 5/7 of the major scale. We're playing 5 out of 7 of the major scale notes. We're just leaving out 2 of them. So very simply, if we add these 2 specific notes in, we are now completing the entire major scale, and everything that we can build from the major scale, like chords and arpeggios and scale shapes, can be now really found and understood. And the 5 notes that we've been seeing have been A, C, D, E, G. And I have it written down on a fancy piece of paper right here. This is the notes that we're playing today. All the 5 pentatonic boxes that we briefly ran through earlier really all we're doing is playing these notes. We're playing A, C, D, E, G. For example, box 1 is A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C. No matter what we're doing, we're really just playing those 5 notes all over the fretboard. And all we have to do to make this the major scale is by adding a B note and an F note. Once we do that, we can move over to this piece of paper, which has the C major scale written out, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And why we need to know these notes and these scale shapes is every time we're playing a minor chord, a major chord, a power chord, a 7th chord, any chord, there's an underlying scale that's happening. And 9 times out of 10, it's the major scale. The scale comes first, and built off that is the chords. Okay, so we're gonna start off by adding the B note. So we're gonna be playing 6/7 of the major scale. We're gonna take those 5 pentatonic boxes, find where the B note is, and then use Octave Visualization to know how to play it in all of the 4 remaining boxes. I'll start off here in just box 1 zone, classic little. Like I said earlier, this is A, C, D, E, G, A, C. One thing to note is the B note is always 1 fret before the C note. So when we see AC right here, AC, there's always a B note 1 fret before. So there's one of the B notes that we could use. That's A, B, C. The other one, and this is where kind of where I want to start off with today, is this is a C note, right? A, C, D, E, G, A, C. We go 1 fret back, that's our B note. So all we're gonna do, we're gonna come up with a little lick, and we're gonna use Octave Visualization to play it all over the entire fretboard. So I'm just hitting the D note here on the G string, 7th fret, pulling off to the 5th fret, sliding to our B note that we're adding in on the 4th fret. And then I'm gonna end on the 7th fret, D string, which is an A note. We move at the octave point, right? Remember, we move down 2 strings and up 3 frets. That gives us the 10th fret high E. That's a D note. We pick that, pull off to our C note on the 8th fret, in this case of the high E, slide back to our B note, and then end on our A note. Same exact phrase, just an octave up. Right, what's that octave from this note? Ends up being the 12th fret of the D string. So we pick that, pull off to the C note, slide to the B note, and then end on our A note, 12th fret, A string. Right, so now we have 3 duplications, 3 octaves of the same exact lick. And this is in 3 different boxes, 3 different zones. We have 2 more zones to go through. Right, we can take that one simple lick and play it all over the fretboard. Now, when you're in those different zones, those pentatonic boxes, we can add the B note in right there. That's zone 1. Zone 2, zone 3. Zone 4. Zone 5. All right, now let's quickly do another variation. This is going to be more of a shreddy variation of adding the B note in to the pentatonic scale. It's going to be a 3 note per string sequence. It's very cool. It sounds like this. 3, 5, 7 on the E and A strings. And I'm just picking and then hammering on these. And now we just move that from the octave points. We can move it across the entire fretboard. Zone 5, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. All right, now all we have to do is add the F note in, and we'll have completed the major scale. I'm not going to actually be throwing in the B note with it right now, but I'll show you how to use Octave Visualizations and walk through these 5 zones, adding in the F note. We're going to do something simple, and it's going to look like this. Right, we're still here in zone 1. But we're just going to do this now. Our F note will be found on the B string 6th fret. And we're just going to pick that with our middle finger right there and pull off to the 5th fret. So 6, 5 on the B, F to E, and then just go to the G string and play D to C. That's what it's going to look like in zone 1. Zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, And then lastly, zone 5. Right, so now if I'm jamming in box 1, I'm in box 2. Box 3, zone 3. Box 4. And then lastly, box 5. Now, I do have a whole video that I'll link down below called The Ultimate Guide to the Major Scale that I'd highly recommend you check out. I go over a couple different ways of looking at the major scale, but one of them is very much in this category, and you should definitely check that out. All right, next, we have to learn the chords in each zone. I'm going to be showing you the diatonic chords of C major. Many of these will be kind of caged chord shapes, really, is kind of how we're going to look at using them and playing them. That's probably the best thing about cage is learning those chord shapes. Now, I might just show you one zone for today because I really want to keep this video short, but it's going to be the same exact concept. If you know the cage system, you can move that in all the 5 zones across the fretboard. Going back to zone 1, we're going to start off with our C major, which I play like this, or you could play it like this. This is really just a G shape in the cage system, but what we're doing is we're playing the 8th fret of the low E, the 7th fret of the A string, then we're barring the 5th fret on the D, G, and B strings, and then we'll play the high E 8th fret. Next is going to be D minor, which is our typical minor bar chord shape. I'm barring the 5th fret from the A string down. Then my ring finger plays the D string 7th fret, pinky right below it on the G string, and then very importantly, the middle finger on the F natural here on the 6th fret. And then I'm still barring the high E with my first finger. So that's your typical minor bar chord shape, very, very important. Now E minor is a little weird. This is how I do it. I just like playing this little triad here. Just pinky on the A string 7th fret, middle finger D string 5th fret, and first finger on the G string 4th fret. Since it's E, we can actually hit the last 2 strings open. Next is going to be F major. That's our 4 chord in C major. This is, in the cage world, this is called a C shape, which is now going to be pinky on the 8th fret, A string, ring finger, D string 7th fret. We're barring with our first finger that G string 5th fret, and then middle finger plays the B string 6th fret, and we're still barring the high E on the 5th fret. So all hidden right here in zone 1. You know, I could play a C chord, D minor, E minor, F major, right? It's kind of crazy. Now this is how I like to play G. It's actually inverted G, because I have the 3rd and the bass here. This is how I like to play it though. So that's a middle finger on the low E 7th fret, first finger on the D string 5th fret, ring finger G string 7th fret, and then pinky on the 8th fret of the B string. Now we have our 6th chord, which is A minor, which is a typical minor bar chord shape. So I'm barring the entire 5th fret now on all strings, and then I'm just playing the 7 on the A string and 7 on the D string. I'll just show you the B diminished triad here. A simple way of playing it is just pinky on the low E 7th fret, middle on the A string 5th fret, and then first finger on the 3rd fret. So that will get you by in zone 1 if you need to play a B diminished. That's all 7 of the diatonic chords found in C major, played only in zone 1 of the fretboard. So I really want to keep this video short, but basically the plan is to take that same exact concept by seeing all the octaves, seeing all the major scale notes, and seeing all the chord shapes, and learning that in all of the 4 remaining zones of the fretboard.